this about to be good. Stop playing with us, Rebecca. I am hollering, like I am crying. Someone saying something is beautifully written, I'm like kicking, screaming, running. We'll see about that. So I just love the letters. I'll be able to get both of those books for the price of one. Grabbing a new release book. And more than anything, that is sexy. It's so crazy that I ended up reading 2 subtle romance books in the same video. Today is episode 1 of my TBR Takedown. So I have picked out 2 books that other booktubers have deemed their favorite of all time, or at least of their previous reading year. And so the very first book is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, and Shaughnessy raves about this book. If you watch any of her favorites or just romance recommendations videos, she's going to bring up this book, okay? And so I think she says she's reread it a couple times, and at this point I'm like, okay, I need to read this book. There are lots of other booktubers raving about this book as well, but it is definitely one of her all-time favorites, and so I want you guys to hear what she had to say about it.
I love this story so much, and I actually want to read it again before the year is over because it's genuinely one of my favorite books of all time. It makes me absolutely just like get so emotional. And it's just like such a beautiful nostalgic read. The words are also literally huge, so it's very easy to read. And it's just a beautiful friends to lovers story. It's a very cozy read too. Like it's just one of my favorite books ever.
So clearly it's a book that we need to be reading. It's February, it's the month of love. My anniversary is coming up. I'm so excited. So I hope that I absolutely love this book. The next book that we are going to be reading is Divine Rivals. This book did make it into a lot of top reads or favorite reads of 2023 videos for last year, but I really loved what Rachel Catherine had to say about the book. She just described it in a way that got me really excited. It felt like, oh my God, how am I missing out on such a beautiful, well-written book? I want you guys to hear what she had to say about the book.
I don't even have words for how much I love this book. Like, it was actually perfect to me, and it's so interesting because a lot of people don't love this book. They think it's quite slow, or they just were like, oh, it was just like meh. But to me, this is my new Roman Empire. Like, I think about Iris and Kit so often. I annotated this book as I read it, and I'm so glad that oh my gosh, like I just am like looking through the quotes even now, and I'm just like, I'm screaming on the inside. I need to do a reread immediately. And when the second book comes out, prepare to be sick of me. Prepare to be sick of me. To me, this is very pure, very wholesome, kind of like an old-fashioned, timeless kind of love story. It's about characters who are writing letters to each other on magical typewriters. They're like falling in love with each other through these letters. Like, you like, stop. So good.
So clearly I'm excited to read this book for good reason. It says Divine Rivals is an epic enemies to lovers fantasy novel filled with hope and heartbreak and the unparalleled power of love. Oh my God, this is so cute. And I'm already a few chapters in, so because I have already started reading Divine Rivals, this is the book that we are going to start the vlog with. So buckle up, come along for the ride. Hopefully I'll be able to say that I really enjoyed and appreciate these books just as much as all the other people that have shown these books all the love. Oh, it's so good, you guys. Oh my God. And then there's so many beautiful lines. Listen at this one. Do you ever feel as if you wear armor day after day? That when people look at you, they see only the shine of steel that you've so carefully encased yourself in. Oh, that's so good. And then I think we all wear armor. I think those who don't are fools, risking the pain of being wounded by the sharp edges of the world over and over again. Listen, it's so many cute, beautiful lines. I really like her writing style. I'm really enjoying it so far, and it's following 2 journalists. They are both up for a promotion that they both want very, very badly. And Iris does not come from a lot of money. She actually has a mother who has a drinking problem and a brother who has went off to fight in the war that she has not heard from. So she starts to write him letters, hoping that he will get these letters, and he doesn't. But guess who does? Her enemy, her rival, the guy that she can't stand. He has not shared his identity, but he does know that the letters are coming from Iris. So that is so good. None of that is a spoiler. All of that literally is what we get in the synopsis. I don't know how this is going to work out, but I know that I am wildly invested. And I like that it's a very charming fantasy. Like, it's not violent, it's not action driven, it's not fast paced. It's very slow and intentional and beautiful, and I'm just enjoying the ride. So I'm gonna keep on reading as much as I can, and I'll see you guys at the next update. So I'm about 225 pages into the book. I have about 130 pages left, and I am pleasantly surprised by how much I am enjoying it. The romance is very subtle, but it's very cute. Like, I'm loving the letters, okay? I grew up in a time where letters were a thing. I have so many love letters from my husband. Obviously, fancy cell phones were not always a thing, and so me and my cousins, we would write each other letters back and forth. So I just love the letters, and more than anything, I love the typewriter, why it exists, and the history surrounding the typewriter. Like, it's so cool to me. This is just such a cool and different and unique concept. I can see why a lot of people like the book, and then I can also see why a lot of people might not like the book. I am a little bit confused on how their world works because it's kind of in the background. It is obviously a fantastical world, but the letters and the romance to me are more at the forefront. It could just be me because fantasy is not my primary genre. So sometimes I just miss certain things and then I'm a little confused. I don't know what it is about it, but I like it. It's not real rugged and rough. There is a melancholy undertone because the book does explore grief, and I do happen to like books that explore grief. I just do. I think it's a real thing that we all deal with, whether you've lost someone or if you're dealing with other things. I do love the mystery surrounding how she finds out, and if she ever finds out, that her rival is actually the guy that she thinks she's falling in love with. So yeah, it's super cute. It's super fun so far. So I'm gonna keep on reading and going on this journey with them, and I will be back with my final update.
Slow love, uncomplicated touch, stable as we go.
A girl who writes letters to her missing brother and the boy who reads them. I wrote that line down in my brainstorming journal on November 20th, 2020, uncertain of where it would lead me, of whether this enticing story morsel had enough magic to grow wings and become a novel. And yet, here we are, Iris and Roman. I've always believed the right books find you at just the right moments, both as a reader and as an author, and I will never get over this wonder. What a journey this novel has been. I could not have said it better myself. Can we just appreciate how magnificent of a writer Rebecca Ross is? Like, everything that she wrote about this book, it is just all so beautiful. I cannot think of at least one thing that I want to change. I can't. I can definitely see why Rachel put this as one of her top reads of 2023. I totally get it. Everyone is absolutely correct when they say that this is a beautifully written book. It really is. And can we just appreciate the book for itself? She's gorgeous. I love it when there is something actually embossed on like the hardcover. But there's so many beautiful lines in this book. Like, I just cannot. I have to share just one. Like, one with you guys. How quickly life can change. How one little thing like typing a letter can open a door you never saw. A transcendent connection. A divine threshold. Stop playing with us, Rebecca. Like, this book is so good. I'm in awe of it. Words that keep coming to mind are elegant, enchanting, soft, timeless, like classy. It's just so beautiful, and I am just very happy that I had the opportunity to read it. This book also won, I think it won a category on Goodreads. Yeah, it won the young adult fantasy category, and I get it. I completely get it. I do understand why some people wouldn't like it because it's a very slow and just easygoing, subtle romance, so I can understand that that is definitely not everyone's thing. I do want to circle back because I do think at first I said the romance was at the forefront and like the fantasy, the war aspect, it was not. That ended up changing as you continue on to read the story. I feel like that's important to share just because if somebody really enjoys fantasy and they like a story that's well balanced between the romance and the fantastical world, I think they did a really good job of that here in this book. Another thing that I really liked is that it's not a childish book. And what I mean by that is it is in the YA category, and sometimes I feel like the topics or the tone can be a a little childish, but this read very much like an adult fantasy book to me, except for it wasn't as much violence or obviously as much spice, but I was still pleasantly surprised by how YA it did not feel. So yeah, I highly recommend. Love the book. I feel like a really big takeaway that I have from this book is how tragedy in our life, it ignites passion and it ignites purpose within us, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I'm definitely going to get the second book. We're actually going to go and get it now. I'm not going to read it now, but I need to have it in my possession because I'm still thinking about it. Like, this was such a good book. Grabbing a new release book. Oh yes. Hey Barnes.
Don't think twice now. You got things to prove. I'm not playing. I'm not hard to get. 'Cause when I saw you, there was nothing else.
Got the goods. Oh my god. So they did have Ruthless Vows, and I am so excited. I really hope that this book is just as divine and enchanting and charming as Divine Rivals. Sometimes book number 2 just isn't as good, and I've purposely avoided all reviews and spoilers and just Goodreads. I haven't read anything or looked into anything about it. I just want to go into it knowing what I know and having my own thoughts and experience. I am not going to read this in February, but I will be able to get to this in the month of March. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's just as beautiful as Divine Rivals. Oh, and I love that it's blue. Oh, so cute. And I did treat myself to my anticipated release book for the month of February. Let me explain. Because I know you guys saw that I returned Family and Good Material. I forgot that I had a credit for Book of the Month, okay? It's like a subscription service that you can get a book shipped to your house. If you have not heard of it, no, this video is not sponsored, but it should be. Anyway, I didn't know that once you get to a certain status, you can do add-ons at a discounted rate. So I'm able to get my Book of the Month, The Mayor of Maxwell Street. So I'm going to redeem my credit for that and then get both of those books for $11.99 each. Stop playing with me. I'll be able to get both of those books for the price of one of those books. So to me, it just made sense to me to take those back to Barnes, get this, and still be able to get the books that I want to read, but just at a discounted rate. So I love that for me. But now on to Love in Other Words. I am 130 pages in. This book is about 400 pages. Yeah, it's a little over 400 pages, so I still have a ways to go, but it's cute. I'm noticing like the theme for both of these books, it's a very subtle romance. Although grief is being talked about and explored, it's not overshadowing the romance, if that makes sense. Elliot, I think he is such a cool dude. Like, he's definitely giving like nerd and quirky vibes, but I just like a man who's absolutely sure, assertive in that he's okay with going after what he wants. So let's talk about what this particular book is about, because I honestly had forgot. I've had this book on my TBR show. I think I bought this book back in the spring or the summer of 2023. So I've had it for a while. So it's nice to finally get to it. But we have two main characters, Macy and Elliot. And I love that this is like a friends to lovers. It's also going to be obviously like second chance romance vibe. It kind of reminds me of Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan. She's a pediatric resident and she's engaged to a guy that, like, I don't think we really saw much of him at all in the book. But then when he finally did appear, I did like him. Like, I don't have any problems with him. So he's a nice guy. He's a secure guy, but he's not Elliot. It's like a journey that we get to see take place in alternating timelines, once when they were a child and then now that they have bumped into each other as adults. And Elliot really wants to know what happened that day that you just decided you didn't want this anymore. And so I love the suspense around that and why we don't even know as the reader why. So I am excited to find out why they broke up, why it didn't work out, and you know, why she never thought to reach out to him again. And then I had no plans on annotating this book. Divine Rivals, absolutely. I just knew if someone's saying something is beautifully written, I'm like, we'll see about that. Maybe I started reading that book and I was like, annotate, highlight, tab, this, that. I didn't think I was gonna do that for this book. You don't really need to for this book, but there were just a couple of moments where, I don't know, I just liked it. Girl, in the prologue, it says, it never occurred to me that love could be anything other than all-consuming. Even as a child, I knew I never wanted anything less. Stop playing with me. You think I'm not gonna tab that? It's not anything extra exciting or wowing. It's very subtle. It's so crazy that I ended up reading 2 subtle romance books in the same video, but it's a vibe and I love that for me.
The ocean is gray, sky is a vague blue. Come my way, my room is a mess. It could use a hand. My favorite TV shows to capturing. I know I must get it right. Must get back in the fight. This can't be a surprise. I think I let it slide.
Okay, so I did finish Love in Other Words, and we are going to get to the review in a minute, but I am hollering, like I am crying, kicking, screaming, running at somebody else's review about this book. It is just absolutely hilarious. She does say, like, let's talk about it tomorrow, and then in all caps it says, no B word. Just have the conversation now. My days on this planet are limited. You are wasting my time. And I just felt like so seen when I read this. I'm just like, totally relate. Oh, I need to gather myself, formulate my thoughts, and if we don't get to my final thoughts tonight, I will share it with you guys tomorrow. Let's talk about Love in Other Words, because I finished the book. It's so romantic. I totally get why people say it's like oozing with all like the cozy romance vibes, and I was really happy to read this around this time of year. Today is actually my 17th wedding anniversary, which is crazy. Imagine being married to somebody for 17 years. Husband and I did start out as friends, so I always like a good friends to lovers story. I just think it's so cute. It's super nostalgic, and it just gives you all the feels from like young love. So I do have my notes about things that I liked and that I did not like about the book. So let us get into it. I really appreciate that this is a soft and quiet, cozy romance. You don't get to see a lot of romance stories like that. A lot of romance stories, they're loud and overly passionate, and this had passion in it, but it was very subtle. And I really liked Elliot's character. I thought that he was very confident and very secure, very emotionally stable and emotionally healthy. And I really appreciate that because you don't always get to see that in male characters. Elliot was too rational to be offended by my reaction. Love that. There's also this part where she says, I would have no idea how to touch his body. Knowing him, he would just tell me. That is sexy. Okay, baby, tell me what you want me to do, okay? And one of the cutest things that they did in this book, they would do this thing where they both would ask like, favorite word, give me a word, and then they both would just share a word. It's so freaking cute. And as they would do it, I would think like, oh, what are my favorite words? Clearly, I love the word absolutely. That's why I'm always saying absolutely love. I love the word precisely. I love the word apparatus, even though it doesn't have like the most beautiful definition. It's just such a pretty word. And then of course, one of my favorite words is darling. And yes, I do have to say it like that every single time. And I feel like the big overall theme of this book that gets addressed quite a bit is right here in this line that I had to highlight. And it says, I never got to fall out of love. I just had to move on. And that is so true. There are some people, you will always love them. Like husband, we are really, really good friends. We really are. If anything were to happen and we were no longer together, he would always be a really good friend for me. He is my family and he's just my guy, you know. Life gets hard or it's not the right time or marriages don't work out or just whatever, you know. That is why I think second chance romance is so cute. It's so good. It's so heartwarming. It's so cozy and it's so relatable. And it's just, oh, it's just such a good love story. Like, and now we're gonna get into what I didn't like because also that's kind of what let me down a little bit in this book. So there was one major thing that I did not like. Okay, let me put the book down for this. It took Christina Lauren way too long to give us the reveal of why they had not spoken a decade. We did not get the reveal until, oh my God, page 361. Are you kidding me? And there's only like 403 pages in the book. That's insane. I feel like that was a huge disservice to us as the reader because Friends to Lovers, second chance romance, you get so much angst, you get so much passion, and then there's pain, there's redemption, and we didn't quite get that. I mean, you get passion and angst in the beginning, but then you're like waiting for this reveal. And I just feel like it was a 2-part reveal. The first part of the reveal, it should have been done in like 200 pages. We as the reader would have been able to connect so much more to Macy. And I don't know why they waited that long to give us the reveal. That ruined it for me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was having such a good time and I'm just like, get on with it. What happened? Please just tell us what happened. And so because I was irritated by the time they revealed what it was, I'm just like, Macy, girl, you're gonna let this good quality man slip away from you because of this? Now, don't get me wrong. I completely understand why. I do believe that her feelings were valid. Obviously, I can't tell you guys what happened because spoilers, but I do believe that her feelings were valid. I understand why she was mad at that time. I don't think it was worth 10 years. And then once they bumped into each other, I felt like you should have had the conversation within like a few weeks, maybe even a month. But the second part of the reveal almost destroyed me. The second part I had a lot more compassion for. I completely understood why it may be a struggle for her to have this conversation with him, but that's why I feel like they should have split it up. I also did not like how, again, everyone knows it's a friends to lovers story, and this book does take place in alternating timelines, so we get to see a lot of their journey as teenagers and how they fell in love and all that kind of stuff. And then we get to see them as adults bump back into each other and try to rectify what happened. We know they had a happily ever after, but I just would have wanted to see that at least for a few chapters. That's why I feel like the reveal should have came up sooner. We did not get to fully see the second chance. Like, obviously, you know it exists because it's a romance book. It's getting a happy ending. It's friends to lovers. It's second chance. Those are all not spoilers. Those are things you know before you go into the book. So baby, show me, you know, so... oh, that kind of bummed me out. I'm not gonna lie. I was like looking for that angst. I'm like, ooh, this about to be good. And then because it's Kristen and Lauren, they disappointed me. I'm like, oh my God, why didn't you give us the reveal way sooner? So that was the only thing that I didn't like. Other than that, I would recommend the book. I think it is a fantastic book for hopeless romantics and girls that love romance. I totally see why this is Shaughnessy's favorite romance book of all times. Like, she just has such a sweet and gentle personality, and I can see why she would absolutely love this book. So I'm really happy that I finally got the opportunity to read this book. Yes, we're able to check off two books off this physical TBR. I am so happy about that. So I am going to do more reading Booktubers favorites. I have quite a few books that some of my favorite Booktubers have already talked about and got me really excited to read. And then I also thought of just like a couple other challenges that I can do to take down the TBR in a fun way. So subscribe, join the family, come along for the ride, come along for the fun. I would love for you to be a part of my book family. Comment any of your favorite words in the comments section below. I'm gonna go and explore the word love with my husband because it's our anniversary. And I'm clearly all in like a giddy little romance mood. So do not forget to prioritize self-care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Why would you come in here and I'm recording? I love the word Vaseline. Oh my goodness. If I see a video with this on the thumbnail, I'm like, nope, can't watch it yet. The beginning of February is just so busy for us. Oh God, where was I? And I really like the word pungent. You know, Justice's birthday on the 2nd. It sounds like the meaning. She kept going like on and on about what's behind his button. Husband's birthday is the 5th. I am a hot mess today. I also love the word exasperate. Dust jackets and me, I'm not always a fan. Anniversary is the 11th. I have to get a little bit more into this book to see. And then boop, there's Valentine's Day. Is this a book that I would keep, or once I read it, will I unhaul this? I also like the word ferocious. It's just my jam. I also really like the word jarring. Like, oh, have you ever seen someone without their mask after COVID and it was just so jarring? I'm cutting up.